we've been talking about climate change and what we need to do to stop the climate from warming up. And so we all know that everybody needs to contribute to solving this problem. And we do know that there are solutions, and everybody needs to be part of the solution. So that's really, really important. And so I've got a message here. This meeting is being recorded by continuing to be in the meeting. Okay, I click continue, right?
Yeah, that's for the kids that can't make it today, yeah.
Okay, oh, that's fine.
I have a question first before we start.
Yeah.
So they've been working on their bingos. When do you need that by for me?
Well,
next week or
we need to have everything, all the data in, and the basically I would say, let me look at my Google Calendar. Right now we're the 5th. The end of the school year is the June 25th, right? So we need to have all of the stuff done, let's say by June 18.
Okay.
Would be at the late. I mean, I would say that I would need to have all the data in, all the bingo cards back sometime during that week, so I can have all of the data in, let's say on June 18 and give.
Well, I'll get it in by next week.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, yeah. It's going to take.
I put that on my classroom. I think I told them to get it in by next week. So
okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's going to take us some time to actually enter all the data and see which of the students get those prizes, and you know, we need to discuss amongst ourselves on the team too on how we're going to allocate those prizes, because this is the first time we've done it this way. Normally we do this in class. And so normally what we do is we go to the class, we actually go in the class 3 times, well, twice, but 3 times if with the winning class, and we give them a pizza party and we distribute prizes and certificates to the students during the pizza party. And all of that, you know, it takes time to compile the data. So yeah. So next week would be good. So anyway, we have been we've been talking about a warming climate and what we need to do to stop the climate from warming. It's a big problem. There are solutions. Everybody needs to be part of the solutions, and we need to do things individually as people, but we also need to do things together as communities. And so what we do in our own homes is really, really important, but also what our communities do and what our industries do is also really important. So we need to kind of like mesh together all of these solutions. And so that's going to be an ongoing work that all of us are going to be doing. So I gave you a climate bingo with actions for you to do, and that's what your end of the work is. And so I'm going to ask you, first of all, I'm going to ask you if there are any questions about climate change, about the solutions, about any of the science. Are there any students that have questions about that?
So raise your hand and I'll unmute you if you have a question. Anyone? You can even just click it on that question one that you have.
So that's what I'm here for.
That's why I asked them all if they had any question, they could email them to me and I could ask the question.
Yeah.
Any questions, anybody? Abby, do you have a question? Just waving to the camera. Just waving? No. I see. Oh, Jaden's got a question. Go ahead, Jaden.
Go ahead, Jaden.
So when you said when we need to get it all in, do we need to finish every single assignment, or like just do it like the bingo, like do it in do a row?
Oh, you know what? You can do as much as you want. You can still keep doing actions and just write it down on the bingo. You don't need to do everything, but you know, even the day before you hand it in to send it to Mr. L,
Mm-hmm.
you can do an action that very day or the day before, and and just write it in. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And I was talking to some of the kids in class the last few days. I said, and you said the thing, even if you do 2 or 3 squares, whatever, just send it in. And I'll just send it as a big picture file with all, I'll just take pictures of them all. And, and I'll just send it as that for you.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's talk about that climate bingo and the actions that you did. First of all, were the instructions clear? Were the instructions, like I said, this is the first time we've done this, and so I'm just wondering, sorry, if the instructions were easy to follow.
Momo wants to say something. Go ahead, Momo. What do you think?
Yeah, you answered my question of will you unmute me?
So
Okay.
I thought they were pretty clear, and I've been like I said, going over with the kids online and the kids in the class and letting them know what needs to be done, and it seems pretty explanatory to me. It's and you can go to links online and look at things as well. So
Okay, good. So was it easy to do?
Finley's got a question. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Finley.
No, I don't have a question.
Okay. Go ahead. Manon.
Okay, so was it easy? So was the okay, Yusuf has his hand
Go ahead,
up.
Yusuf? He's not working his phone.
Can we make this? I want to watch Naruto.
Say it again?
I want to watch Naruto.
Okay, he's being silly.
Okay, so those climate bingo actions, was there anything there that you were already doing?
Oh, go ahead, Momo.
My 3-minute showers.
You were already having 3-minute showers. Very good. And you keep having 3-minute showers?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else was doing something that was that's on that bingo?
Oh, yeah. Jane, go ahead.
Eating meatless.
Eating meatless. Is that are you a vegetarian already, or was that something that you do?
No, I just tried what would it be like to be like vegetarian for like a certain time.
Yeah, okay. And was that easy? Was it
Yeah,
good?
it's not as hard.
No,
Not that hard.
it's not hard, no.
Go ahead, Lexi. Oh, over there, go ahead.
I was already planting stuff in the garden and already reusing things 3 times.
Oh, very good, very good. What kinds of things have you already been planting in the garden?
Sunflowers, peppers, roses, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Oh, very, very good. Yeah, nice.
Ermia's got a question. Okay, go ahead, Ermia.
I have same. I have like cabbage and lettuce and
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I have I'm growing leeks and onions and garlic. I'm growing beans and peas, and I've got peppers, I've got tomatoes. I've got one cucumber plant growing right now, and various lettuce and spinach. So very good. Jaden, your hand is up.
Here you go, Jaden. Go ahead.
In our house, we are now planting. We have 2 types of corn. I don't know which
Yeah.
types. We have some raspberries,
Yeah.
some onions, and some rhubarb.
Oh, rhubarb, very good. Yeah.
And we're planting what else? Mint.
Yeah.
And and we have this herb, I forgot its name.
Okay.
Basil.
Basil.
Yeah.
Oh, really good basil. Yeah, I have some basil too.
Yeah, but it's hard to grow.
I know. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it needs like the perfect amount of sunlight.
Yeah, yeah, it's really touchy about the amount of sunlight it needs. I agree. It's hard to grow. I agree. Finley, your hand is up.
Go ahead.
Finley.
Go ahead, Finley.
We have like a whole bunch of different herbs, like basil and oregano, and we have dill, I think.
Dill is good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and lots of flowers, a lot of flowers.
Are you is every how shall I say this? I know that a lot of people right now, because people are confined at home, that gardening is one of those things that people have been doing quite a lot. And so
Yeah.
is anybody, are any of you gardening more because of this confinement in COVID? Or are you gardening, or do you all, have you been gardening like this for a couple of years?
I know my wife is gardening a lot more. She's been planting a lot of tomatoes
Yeah.
and we did that thing we heard on the radio today about your green onions. You just get them wet and you throw them back in the garden and just keep growing them. It's just pretty fun. So.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. I didn't know we could do that until a few weeks ago, and I haven't been doing that. Yeah.
I think Momo was showing his garden in the backyard. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
He was going out the stove. See, there it is right there.
Oh, very nice garden, Momo. And it's right. Oh, very good.
You know, the gardening.
Yeah, it's been lasting for actually quite a few years.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have, oh, well, you know what? I'll show you my garden. I have a community garden in the park. That's where I grow most of the food. But I do have a patio here, and I am growing. No, it's okay. So you can see.
Oh, that looks great.
Yeah, I've got flower. This year I planted a lot. Well, this is an east side patio, and I've got it's in an L shape. So I've got an east side patio, and I've got hanging baskets of cherry tomatoes and strawberries there. So, and I've got my herbs around the bedding there. So I've been doing that for oh boy, for a long time now, ever since I've lived here. So because this is a northeast patio, I don't really have much sun. So, you know, I have to get creative with what I grow. Do you know that, I know you guys are in Vancouver Island, and you've got some pretty good growing conditions there, and you've actually got good soil and good land. And in North America, there is a lot of land in people's front yards and backyards. We could probably be growing all of our vegetables and probably all of our berries in our front yards and in our backyards in North America. And so when I was a kid, many, many, many years ago, what we used to do, I grew up in a little village. I grew up in a small village halfway between Montreal and Quebec City. And everybody had a garden. I mean, it was like, I don't know anybody who didn't have a garden. And we used to have pretty, large gardens. And so my parents, well, my mother especially, all the tomatoes that we ate during the year, they were canned tomatoes. My mother would take mason jars, half liter mason jars, and she would put those tomatoes in the jars. We'd have them all winter. So when I was a kid, having fresh tomatoes and fresh cucumbers and fresh lettuce in January wasn't something that we had. And occasionally when they did exist in the stores, they tasted like cardboard. So we ate in season. And everybody that I knew ate vegetables from their garden, and they would freeze them, and we'd have big freezers. And back then we had cold rooms where we'd keep the cabbage and the root vegetables all winter long. And so most of our food, or most of our vegetables, we actually grew ourselves in our backyards. That needs to come back. That is actually something, your food is going to taste better. That's going to be fresher. It's fun to grow food too, and to prepare your food. So that's something that we really need to go back, those practices of growing your own food, right? That's a big climate change solution right there. Momo, did you have something to say?
Well, no, currently no. But what are you gonna do from while they're growing? You don't have any vegetables.
Yeah, well, I actually have in my freezer frozen leeks from last year. So ever since I've had the community garden, I've been growing leeks. I don't think I bought any leeks since 2011, and I just chop them up and put them in the freezer, and I grow enough, for the full year. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife's planted a lot of tomatoes and things like that, and we've done lots of growing over the COVID period. So
Yeah. Anything else? So anybody else was doing something that was already, that they were already doing on the bingo?
Oh, here's Nala. Here you go. Go ahead, Nala.
I am growing a garden.
You're growing it, yeah. Very good. That's probably the most fun thing that we can do, the most creative thing that we can do is growing a garden. Yeah. Did anybody try something that they hadn't been already doing?
Well, for me, I actually I bought a hybrid vehicle this year, so I'm two reasons, hopefully for the environment, but also for my pocketbook to save money for gas wise.
What did you buy?
The RAV4, the hybrid, yeah.
Yeah. It uses a lot less gasoline. You will see it on your gas bill.
Oh, I've seen it already. It's huge. It's what a difference.
Yeah. Yusuf, your hand is.
Yusuf?
Hello. Okay, so I went sailing on my new sailboat.
Oh, very nice.
Wow.
And you put up.
It's a sailboat, so no gasoline.
No power.
At all.
Good.
Wow.
Wind power.
Yeah, wind power. Okay, no, that is really an effective way of getting around is taking a sailboat, right?
Environmental friendly.
Yeah, and it's quiet, right? Sailboats are quiet. They don't disturb the animals in the ocean. Yeah, that's the way people sailed around with all of our ships until the late 1800s were all sailed, right? It was all wind power. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Momo?
I'm outside of the house right now.
Well, anyways, actually, gas has went down astronomically currently. It's at like 111.9. Yeah, it used to be like 145.
Yeah.
And you said that you'd be saving more money. Yeah, you probably would. But gas isn't as expensive as it was. It's went down like 30.
And one of the reasons it's low is because nobody's we don't
Yeah,
have
nobody's driving.
because of COVID, and so it's come
I
down
mean,
a lot. There's
nobody
not
should
the
be
supply and
driving.
demand, right? But it
Yeah.
will
But
go back up again eventually.
But when I went outside to go grocery shopping, holy, it was crowded. That is
Yeah.
not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
What is that? I just need to do my mandatory stuff and then I need to go home. But like there's so much people that 2 meters isn't anything.
Mom. Okay.
So people are kind of like relaxing and maybe not being so vigilant, right? Yeah. But the price of gasoline, to get back, gasoline goes up and down the price. And the cost of gasoline, I mean, when people ask me, well, why is the gasoline this price in the morning and another price at night? Why is it more expensive in one place than another?
Mom, you.
That's really complicated. It's really, really complicated, and there's lots of things that go into the cost of gas. But right now, it's low because there is more gasoline, more oil sitting in storage than people can buy. That's a good thing. I mean, you know, I'm hoping that this will actually teach us a few lessons on energy use. So we don't really need to use as much energy as we think we do. Did anybody go someplace where they normally drive there, but this time they walked or they took their bike instead? We're probably not traveling, not commuting very much right now, but anybody went someplace and they walked there instead of taking the car? Did anybody do that?
Oh, now I think Nala's been doing lots of biking, right, Nala?
Yeah. And you know, walking and biking is actually good for you. We all, Nala.
Yeah,
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I have only taken 2 cars in the last 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. I've taken it once. And that was to go all the way to Langley to buy flowers and vegetables. But I haven't had a car in over 10 years. I got rid of my car 10 years ago. And one of the reasons that I did that is that I wasn't using it. I mean, my boyfriend and I had a car and we only used it when we went camping or go out of the city. And so, you know, spending $2,000 on car insurance for a car that was sitting in the garage in the basement here of our condo, it just didn't, you know, it was an extra expense, right? And you still need to do car repairs. So we got rid of it. And a year later, we joined the car co-op, Moto. And so since 2010, when we need a car, we just take a co-op car. And so, which is really interesting because occasionally we need a pickup truck. When we haul compost to the community garden and we've got this big amount of compost or dirt, or when we go get fruit trees for the community garden, we use a pickup truck, which is useful. A few years ago, we went skiing with some friends and we used a minivan, and we were like 5 or 6 people in that minivan, and we all went on a ski trip in the Kootenays, in Kelowna, and that was fun because they also have tires, winter tires. And so here in Vancouver, we don't need winter tires. That's a little bit too much. But that means that if you do want to go someplace where there's snow, you need winter tires. So the motor cars have they do have cars with winter tires that, you know, we don't need to have. So, you know, there's lots of useful things with car sharing like that. And I know that in Victoria and Nanaimo, there are moto cars there. So that's kind of interesting. Did anybody have a meatless Monday or a meatless Tuesday or okay, Finley, you had that. What did you eat? What did you eat those days that wasn't meat?
I had Glory Bowl. It's like rice and tofu and like carrots and beets and
Wow, that sounds good.
yeah.
What did you call it?
It's called Glory Bowl.
Glory Bowl. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
You add like rice and then like tofu and
Ah,
beets and carrots and spinach and
yeah, that's yummy. Anybody else? Somebody else had their hand raised. Jaden, your hand is raised.
Here you go. Oh, where did you go? Oh, there you go. Jay.
you want to add?
So I for breakfast I had just plainly eggs.
Yeah.
Lunch I had noodles, just noodles with some vegetables in it, and for dinner we had just peas cheese pizza.
Okay, yeah. Pizza and pasta are pretty easy to make vegetarian, right? It's pretty yummy. Anybody else?
Put your hand up, Momo. No.
So last night I made mushroom soup with onions and garlic and leeks and lots of mushrooms, kale, and sage, really yummy. But my protein source in my mushroom soup was actually buckwheat groats. There's lots of protein in buckwheat, and I realized that I had been making that for about 2 years now, and it's actually a traditional Russian soup. So I hadn't realized that, but the buckwheat is in the spinach family. So it's a seed of the buckwheat groats is a seed of the buckwheat, and that's actually in the spinach family, and it grows. People use it like a grain, and it's one of those grains that have a lot of protein, and mushrooms have protein too. So, you get a lot of protein from vegetables. Anybody here eat lentils? Does anybody eat lentils? Yeah, cool. Lentils are also a great source of protein. You can, if you use lentils and quinoa also has a lot of protein in it. That's a good way. Lentils and quinoa, you can, stuff your peppers, make stuffed peppers with that. I also do cabbage rolls with that, Hungarian cabbage rolls, but I use lentils and quinoa instead of meat. I use lentils instead in my shepherd's pie instead of using hamburger. There's lots of really good food. Does anybody eat falafels? Yeah, Momo, you eat falafels. Do you know what falafels are made from?
Yes, vegetables and I think peas.
Yeah, they're actually made from chickpeas, ground chickpeas. I actually made them
Wait,
from scratch
didn't I
once.
say that?
Sorry?
I put them in my shawarma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. So they're made with chickpeas, and I use falafels now instead of meatballs. So if I have a recipe that calls for meatballs, I'll use falafel balls.
I haven't ate meatballs in like decades.
Yeah,
They're so juicy.
yeah. So I'm not saying that you should be all out vegetarian or vegan. Certainly, I'm not. I do eat meat. I just don't eat meat very often. I'll eat meat maybe only twice a week, and I'll eat once or twice a week. I'll eat fish maybe once or twice a week. So in all, I'll have 3 meals a week that has either fish or meat. When it comes to red meat like beef and lamb and goat occasionally, I'll probably eat maybe a kilo a year. So it's not a lot. So it's about one meal of red meat per month. So and it seems like that's enough. I don't need more than that, and so I don't feel deprived. So I do eat meat, and I eat beef, but not a whole lot. So The average Canadian will eat probably, I think I saw a statistic of 35 kilos of red meat per year. So that's way more. That's basically eating a couple of hamburgers every week, which is something that I haven't done for years. So yeah. Anything else on that bingo card? Did anybody check out any local actions? What is Victoria doing for climate change? Anybody check that out?
Anybody done that yet?
So Victoria is doing some really interesting things. Have any of you been on the bike lanes in Victoria? Ride your bike on the bike lanes. They're pretty safe, right? I think Victoria has created separated bike lanes so that you're actually separated from the cars and you don't get you don't get hit by the cars. I know that in many places, the first bike lanes that they made were right on the street, and people would park in the bike lane. And that becomes really dangerous because if you're on your bike and you're coming down and a parked car, opens their door, you can get hurt. So
Yeah.
have separated bike lanes, but that's something that municipalities need to do, right?
Yeah, the one I think that is safest is Johnson Street. I think that's the safest bike lane that there is.
Johnson Street. Okay, yeah. That one goes over the bridge, right? Oh yeah. That's the one that's the one that goes through Chinatown and goes over the Johnson Street Bridge all the way to Esquimalt, right?
I think it's probably the safest.
Yeah, that's a nice one. It's completely separated from the
cars. It's almost impossible to get hit by one unless if you're breaking the wall.
Yeah.
And then we have the Galloping Goose that you can ride like all the way out to Soup and all the way out to Sydney. So they're great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. And did Victoria shut down any streets to traffic?
Any streets? I don't know. I don't think they did.
Yeah, they're talking about some for downtown and extending for the coast, extending the.
I don't really go to downtown. I've been downtown like months.
Yeah, so for people, they're talking about extending the patios for restaurants and things so they can social distance.
But currently, if Thrifties in like the area of Hillside is going like under some construction. I saw, so like they cut off one of the lanes.
Right. So a lot of cities have actually closed streets to traffic so that pedestrians and bikes can use the street. And so that's a question that yesterday I was on a webinar with the city, and the city was talking about, well, they've already, they closed traffic, they closed the streets to the roads in Stanley Park to cars. And I went biking there a few times, and it was really nice to go around Stanley Park and not have to worry about the cars. And so they're debating on whether to make that permanent or not. I'm not really sure that they're going to do that, but those are, creating pedestrian only zones on streets. The streets shouldn't be just for cars, right? They should be for everybody. And certainly, making the sidewalks wider so you can have patios for the restaurants, that's one of the things that just makes life a lot nicer, right? It's nice to eat outside at a restaurant. So yeah. So anything else there that we can talk about before we stop?
Anyone have any questions? Oh, you're a quiet group today.
Yeah. So the thing is that climate change and, all kinds of, the warming climate, that's not the only environmental problem that we have. But a lot of the actions that we take to stop the climate from warming up also creates these other solutions for other environmental problems like species extinction. So not eating so much meat, especially not eating so much beef, that really, really helps with wildlife populations, really helps. There's a whole range of climate actions that actually help in these other environmental problems. And a lot of the things are actually pleasant to do. They're fun to do. They make our lives better. They can make us healthier. They give us more exercise. So there's a lot of benefits that people don't think about when we start, doing solutions for climate. So it actually makes life better. So if there's nothing else, I thank you very much for participating in this workshop. I know you've done a lot of hard work, and I'm sure that you're going to continue doing this. So thank you very much. And Mr. Ellison, you can send me those.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll unmute everybody so they can say bye to you.
Yeah.
There you go, everybody.
Bye.
Everybody's unmuted.
Thank you, everybody. You've been a wonderful class.
Well, thank you, and I'm so glad that we were able to do it in spite of the COVID-19 and everything else, and it's great that we were able to do this challenge.
Good.
Well,
okay, so have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Enjoy the weather, people.
Yeah.
Be okay. Okay, thank you. That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay, bye.